Negative thoughts are an unavoidable part of the human experience. They whisper to us in moments of doubt, shout in times of despair, and linger like shadows in the quiet moments of our lives. For many, these thoughts feel like unwelcome visitors that cannot be evicted. They weigh us down, drain our energy, and cloud our perception of the world. But what if these thoughts are not the enemy themselves? What if the true danger lies in how we interpret, react to, and dwell upon them? The philosophy of Stoicism, rooted in ancient wisdom, offers profound insights into understanding and managing these negative mental patterns. Unlike many approaches that advocate for the complete eradication of negative thoughts, Stoicism takes a different stance. It teaches us that thoughts are neither inherently good nor bad. Instead, it is our judgment of them that gives them power. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's great thinkers, famously said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." This simple yet profound idea forms the foundation of this guide. In the modern world where stress, anxiety, and self-doubt seem to be ever present, the dangers of negative thinking are amplified. They impact our mental health, relationships, productivity, and overall sense of well-being. Yet, many of these dangers go unspoken, hidden beneath the surface of our daily lives. We often don't realize how much influence our thoughts hold over our actions, decisions, and the trajectory of our existence. This journey into Stoic wisdom aims to uncover these unspoken dangers and provide practical tools to overcome them. It is not about suppressing negativity or pretending that everything is fine. Instead, it is about cultivating a mindset that allows us to face life's challenges with courage, resilience, and equanimity. Through understanding the nature of negative thoughts, reframing them, and grounding ourselves in the principles of Stoic philosophy, we can transform our inner struggles into a source of strength. In the chapters ahead, we will explore the origins of negative thoughts, why they are so seductive, and how they can spiral out of control if left unchecked. We will then dive into time-tested Stoic practices that empower us to reclaim our mental clarity and emotional balance. These practices are not abstract theories. They are practical and actionable steps that anyone can implement in their daily life. By the end of this journey, you will not only have a deeper understanding of the Stoic approach to negative thinking, but also a renewed sense of control over your own mind. You will discover how to navigate life's challenges without succumbing to the weight of negativity, achieving a state of inner peace and resilience that has been cherished by Stoics for centuries. The journey begins here, with an invitation to reframe your perspective and reclaim the power of your mind. Together, let us explore the unspoken dangers of negative thoughts and the Stoic path to overcoming them. Negative thoughts are an inevitable part of the human experience, but understanding their nature is crucial to managing them effectively. In Stoicism, these thoughts are not viewed as enemies, but as natural occurrences that arise from our perceptions, past experiences, and fears about the future. What makes them dangerous is not their presence, but the power we give them through our judgments and reactions. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, taught that external events do not disturb us. Rather, it is our interpretation of these events that shapes our emotional response. To understand negative thoughts, we must first recognize their origins. Many of them are rooted in our environment, messages from society, the opinions of others, and the pressures we face daily. These external factors often feed our insecurities and amplify self-doubt. Internally, our own beliefs and expectations play a significant role. We judge ourselves harshly, set unattainable standards, and relive past failures, all of which create fertile ground for negativity to flourish. The Stoics believed that these thoughts are like waves in the ocean. They come and go, but they do not define the ocean itself. The mind is naturally drawn to negativity due to its survival instincts. Our ancestors relied on hypervigilance to avoid danger, and this tendency has persisted even though most modern threats are no longer life-threatening. While this negativity bias once served an important purpose, it now often leads us to dwell on minor setbacks, overanalyze situations, and imagine worst-case scenarios. Without awareness, this tendency can spiral out of control, creating patterns of thought that dominate our mental landscape. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us that we have the ability to rise above these patterns. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle underscores the Stoic belief that we are not at the mercy of our thoughts. We have the capacity to observe, challenge, and redirect them. However, this requires effort and practice. It begins with an acknowledgement that not every thought is true or worthy of our attention. Negative thoughts are often deceptive, presenting themselves as truths when they are merely reflections of our fears or misunderstandings. For example, when we fail at a task, a thought like, "I am not good enough," might arise. If left unexamined, this thought can influence our actions and reinforce feelings of inadequacy. Yet, when viewed through the lens of Stoicism, this thought is recognized as a fleeting impression, not an objective reality. We can choose to question its validity and reframe it into something constructive. One of the greatest challenges in dealing with negative thoughts is distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. The Stoics emphasize this distinction as the cornerstone of their philosophy. Negative thoughts often focus on things beyond our control, such as the actions of others, unforeseen circumstances, or outcomes of past decisions. By shifting our focus to what we can control, our own actions, decisions, and attitudes, we reduce the grip of negativity and regain a sense of agency. Understanding the nature of negative thoughts also involves recognizing their impermanence. Like clouds passing through the sky, they are transient and ever-changing. When we view them with detachment, rather than identifying with them, we create space between ourselves and our thoughts. This space allows us to respond with clarity and wisdom rather than reacting impulsively. In this chapter, we lay the foundation for overcoming negativity by embracing a Stoic mindset. By observing our thoughts without judgment, questioning their validity, and focusing on what we can control, we begin to see them for what they truly are: temporary fluctuations in the mind, not immutable truths. This understanding empowers us to approach negativity with calmness and confidence, knowing that we have the tools to navigate it effectively. Negative thoughts, though intangible, carry a weight that can burden the mind and distort our perception of reality. In Stoicism, the danger of dwelling on these thoughts is likened to a fire fed by endless fuel. It grows uncontrollably, consuming everything in its path. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," emphasizing the transformative power of prolonged negativity. When we allow these thoughts to dominate our minds, they shape our character, influence our behavior, and even affect our physical health. One of the primary dangers of dwelling on negativity is the way it perpetuates a cycle of self-reinforcement. Negative thoughts are rarely isolated. They tend to cluster, each one amplifying the next. A small worry about failing a task can snowball into a full-blown fear of inadequacy, leading us to avoid challenges and opportunities. This avoidance further reinforces the belief that we are incapable, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Over time, this cycle becomes ingrained, and negativity becomes our default state. The Stoics understood that dwelling on negativity creates unnecessary suffering. Seneca observed, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When we replay past mistakes or obsess over potential future failures, we live those moments repeatedly in our minds, even though they may never materialize in the external world. This mental rehearsal of pain does not prepare us for challenges. It drains our energy and erodes our resilience. Another unspoken danger is how dwelling on negativity narrows our perspective. Negative thoughts often magnify problems, making them appear insurmountable. This tunnel vision prevents us from seeing alternative solutions or appreciating the positive aspects of a situation. For example, a minor setback at work might lead to thoughts like, "I'll never succeed in this career." This kind of thinking blinds us to the lessons we can learn from the setback or the opportunities that may arise from it. The influence of negativity extends beyond our minds. It affects our interactions with others. When we are consumed by negative thoughts, we often project them onto the world around us. We may become more irritable, defensive, or withdrawn, straining relationships and creating a feedback loop of isolation and misunderstanding. The Stoics emphasized the importance of maintaining harmony with others and recognized that a mind clouded by negativity disrupts this harmony. Recognizing the danger of dwelling on negative thoughts is the first step toward overcoming them. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot prevent these thoughts from arising, we can control how we engage with them. Just as a traveler passing through a storm does not linger in it, we must learn to let negative thoughts pass without giving them undue attention. This requires cultivating mindfulness and practicing the art of detachment. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have to assemble your life yourself, action by action." Dwelling on negativity keeps us stagnant, while taking deliberate, constructive action moves us forward. By acknowledging the presence of negative thoughts without succumbing to them, we regain the ability to act in alignment with our values and goals. The danger lies not in the existence of negativity, but in our choice to dwell on it. Dwelling on negative thoughts leads to a life of unnecessary suffering, diminished potential, and fractured relationships. Through the lens of Stoicism, we can begin to see these thoughts as passing shadows, unreal and powerless unless we give them form. By refusing to dwell on them, we free ourselves to live with clarity, purpose, and peace. Reframing negative thoughts with objectivity is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, offering a powerful antidote to the corrosive effects of negativity. The Stoics understood that our minds are naturally inclined to interpret events subjectively, often in ways that amplify fear, anger, or despair. However, by stepping back and examining our thoughts with a rational, objective lens, we can neutralize their emotional charge and see them for what they truly are: impressions, not facts. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This idea underscores the importance of separating an event from our interpretation of it. For example, if we lose a job, our immediate thought might be, "This is a disaster, I'll never recover." In reality, losing a job is simply an event. It is our judgment of the event that turns it into a personal catastrophe. Reframing allows us to shift from "this is the end" to "this is an opportunity to explore new paths." To reframe a negative thought, we must first pause and identify it. Often, negative thoughts arise so quickly that we accept them without question. A key Stoic practice is to slow down and examine the thought. What is the evidence for and against it? Is this thought rooted in reality, or is it a projection of my fears and insecurities? By treating our thoughts as hypotheses rather than truths, we begin to weaken their grip on us. Another effective technique for reframing is to question whether the thought is helpful. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to focus only on what serves his higher purpose. If a thought leads to greater clarity, wisdom, or action, it has value. If it leads to paralysis, self-pity, or despair, it is unworthy of our attention. For example, instead of dwelling on "I'll never succeed," we can reframe it to "What can I learn from this experience to improve?" Reframing also involves shifting our perspective. The Stoics practiced viewing situations from a broader vantage point. Seneca advised, "How does this affect my character?" By framing challenges as opportunities for growth, we transform setbacks into stepping stones. A failure becomes a lesson in perseverance. A criticism becomes a chance to refine our actions. This shift from focusing on the problem to focusing on the potential for growth is at the heart of Stoic resilience. A practical exercise for reframing comes from the Stoic idea of premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This involves mentally rehearsing worst-case scenarios to build emotional preparedness. For instance, if we fear public speaking, we might imagine forgetting our words or facing a critical audience. By confronting these possibilities in advance, we desensitize ourselves to their emotional impact and are better equipped to respond calmly if they occur. This practice also helps us realize that even the worst outcomes are rarely as catastrophic as our initial thoughts suggest. Another powerful reframing tool is gratitude. When negative thoughts arise, we can counterbalance them by focusing on what remains good or stable in our lives. For example, if a relationship ends, we might dwell on feelings of loss and rejection. However, by reframing the situation, we can shift our focus to the lessons learned from the relationship and the freedom to seek new connections. Gratitude shifts our attention from scarcity to abundance, diminishing the hold of negativity. The act of reframing negative thoughts is not about ignoring reality or forcing positivity. It is about viewing the world through a lens of reason and practicality, aligning our perceptions with truth rather than distorted assumptions. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By practicing the art of reframing, we harness this power and transform negativity into a source of wisdom and strength. Reframing requires practice, but with consistent effort, it becomes second nature. Over time, this Stoic habit allows us to approach life's challenges with greater clarity, balance, and resilience, freeing us from the tyranny of our own negative thoughts. Acceptance is a powerful tool in overcoming negative thoughts, and it lies at the heart of Stoic philosophy. While many people resist or fight against their negative emotions, the Stoics teach us that true strength comes from accepting what is outside of our control. Seneca eloquently put it, "A man is as miserable as he thinks he is." This profound statement reminds us that much of our suffering comes not from external circumstances, but from our internal resistance to them. Negative thoughts often arise because we wish for reality to be different than it is. We replay past mistakes, wishing we had acted differently, or we worry about future events, hoping to avoid imagined catastrophes. This resistance to what has happened or what might happen only serves to deepen our suffering. The Stoics argue that the key to peace lies in accepting the present moment exactly as it is, free of judgment, free of resistance. Acceptance does not mean resignation or passivity. The Stoics were anything but passive. Acceptance is an acknowledgement of the reality of a situation, coupled with a focus on what can be done within the sphere of our control. For example, if you experience a setback at work, dwelling on your frustration or blaming others will not change the situation. Instead, a Stoic response would involve accepting the setback as a fact and redirecting your energy toward actions that can improve the situation or your response to it. Marcus Aurelius provides a clear example of this mindset in his Meditations, where he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By accepting that external events are beyond our control, we free ourselves from the mental anguish of trying to change the unchangeable. Instead, we focus our efforts on what truly matters, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Acceptance is also a way to disarm negative thoughts. When we resist them, we inadvertently give them more power. Imagine trying to push away a troubling thought. It often returns with greater intensity. The Stoics suggest an alternative. Observe the thought without judgment. Recognize it as a passing impression, not an ultimate truth. This detachment creates a space where the thought can exist without dominating your mind. Over time, this practice weakens the thought's hold on you. Another dimension of acceptance is recognizing that life is filled with uncertainty and impermanence. The Stoics remind us that change is the natural order of things. What troubles us today may be irrelevant tomorrow. By accepting the transient nature of life, we develop the flexibility to adapt to challenges and view them as temporary rather than insurmountable. Acceptance also fosters emotional resilience. When we stop fighting against reality, we conserve our energy for constructive actions. For instance, if a loved one criticizes us unfairly, our initial reaction might be anger or hurt. However, by accepting the criticism as their perspective, something outside our control, we can shift our focus to how we choose to respond. We may decide to address the issue calmly or simply let it go, preserving our inner peace. A practical way to cultivate acceptance is through the Stoic practice of reminding ourselves daily of what is and isn't within our control. By repeatedly reinforcing this distinction, we build a mental framework that naturally leans toward acceptance. For example, at the end of each day, reflect on events that troubled you and identify whether they were within your control. If not, practice letting go of the emotional weight associated with them. Acceptance is not a single moment of clarity, but an ongoing practice. It is a skill that grows stronger with time and patience. As you embrace this Stoic principle, you'll find that negative thoughts lose their sting, and the chaos of life feels less overwhelming. In acceptance, there is liberation, the freedom to focus on what truly matters and to live with a sense of calm amidst life's inevitable storms. Mental minimalism is a powerful antidote to the overwhelming influence of negative thoughts. In the modern world, our minds are bombarded with information, distractions, and responsibilities, creating a mental clutter that amplifies stress and negativity. The Stoics understood that a cluttered mind is a breeding ground for anxiety and unproductive thought patterns. By simplifying our mental landscape, we create space for clarity, focus, and peace of mind. At its core, mental minimalism is about prioritizing what truly matters and letting go of the rest. The Stoics often reflected on the importance of focusing on essentials. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary?" This simple question is a cornerstone of mental minimalism, encouraging us to evaluate our thoughts, actions, and priorities with discernment. By eliminating unnecessary worries and distractions, we free up mental energy to focus on what contributes to a meaningful life. One of the primary causes of mental clutter is our attachment to external validation and material pursuits. In a society that constantly pushes us to achieve, acquire, and compare, it's easy to lose sight of what truly fulfills us. The Stoics emphasized the importance of inner wealth over external possessions. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." Applying this principle to our minds, we can see that our thoughts often revolve around desires for things that do not truly bring us happiness, recognition, status, or possessions. Mental minimalism requires us to step back and question whether these pursuits are worth the mental burden they impose. Another source of mental clutter is our tendency to ruminate on the past and worry about the future. Negative thoughts often arise from replaying past mistakes or imagining worst-case scenarios. The Stoics taught that the only time we truly possess is the present moment. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Confine yourself to the present." By anchoring ourselves in the present, we can reduce the mental noise created by regrets and anxieties. This doesn't mean ignoring the past or failing to plan for the future, but rather approaching them with a sense of balance and perspective. Practicing mental minimalism also involves setting boundaries, both with ourselves and others. Our thoughts are often influenced by the expectations, opinions, and behaviors of those around us. While relationships are essential, the Stoics recognize the importance of protecting our inner peace. Epictetus advised, "Keep company only with those who uplift you." This wisdom encourages us to evaluate the influences we allow into our mental space. Surrounding ourselves with supportive, positive influences can significantly reduce mental clutter and negativity. A practical exercise in mental minimalism is journaling. Writing down our thoughts allows us to declutter the mind by externalizing worries, fears, and distractions. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, were avid journalers, using this practice to reflect on their values, analyze their thoughts, and clarify their priorities. By regularly examining what occupies our minds, we can identify patterns of unnecessary negativity and make deliberate choices to let them go. Gratitude is another powerful tool for simplifying the mind. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance. This practice helps to quiet the mental noise of dissatisfaction and longing. A simple daily practice of identifying 3 things you are grateful for can transform your mental state over time, replacing negativity with a sense of contentment and sufficiency. Mental minimalism also involves saying no more often. In our efforts to please others or seize every opportunity, we overcommit ourselves, leading to stress and a lack of focus. The Stoics valued deliberate action over frantic busyness. By learning to say no to unnecessary demands on our time and energy, we create space for what truly matters. This doesn't mean avoiding responsibilities, but rather being selective about where we direct our attention. The Stoics also practiced detachment as a form of mental decluttering. Detachment does not mean indifference, but rather a recognition that our happiness should not depend on external outcomes. Epictetus taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This mindset allows us to focus on our efforts and let go of concerns about results, which are often beyond our control. By practicing detachment, we free ourselves from the mental clutter of worry and disappointment. Another important aspect of mental minimalism is simplifying our goals and ambitions. While striving for excellence is commendable, the Stoics remind us to pursue goals that align with our values rather than chasing every opportunity for success. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." By concentrating on what truly matters, relationships, personal growth, and contributing to the greater good, we can eliminate the distractions that lead to mental overwhelm. Finally, mental minimalism requires regular self-reflection. The Stoics believed in the importance of examining one's life daily. At the end of each day, reflect on what thoughts occupied your mind. Were they productive, meaningful, or aligned with your values? Or were they distractions, fears, or unhelpful comparisons? By cultivating this awareness, we can gradually reshape our mental habits, reducing clutter and fostering clarity. Mental minimalism is not about achieving a perfect state of calm or eliminating all negative thoughts. Instead, it is a practice of consistently choosing simplicity, focus, and intentionality in our mental lives. By adopting the Stoic principles of prioritizing essentials, detaching from external outcomes, and living in the present moment, we can transform our relationship with our thoughts and create a mental environment that supports resilience, clarity, and peace. Over time, this practice empowers us to face life's challenges with greater confidence and composure, free from the unnecessary burdens of mental clutter. Inner resilience is the capacity to endure challenges, setbacks, and adversities without losing balance or succumbing to despair. For the Stoics, resilience was not merely an admirable quality, but a core virtue necessary for living a flourishing life. They recognized that the world is unpredictable and often indifferent to our desires. In the face of such uncertainty, building inner resilience is not just about surviving adversity, but thriving despite it. The foundation of Stoic resilience lies in understanding what we can control and what we cannot. Epictetus emphasized this distinction, teaching that while external events are beyond our influence, our thoughts, emotions, and actions remain fully within our power. Resilience begins with this clarity, directing our energy toward what we can change and releasing attachment to what we cannot. For example, if a business venture fails, we cannot undo the failure itself, but we can choose how to respond, learn, and rebuild. A key practice for cultivating resilience is embracing discomfort as a natural part of life. The Stoics believed that adversity is not an obstacle to growth, but a catalyst for it. Seneca observed, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." By facing challenges head-on, we develop the mental and emotional muscles needed to handle future difficulties with grace. This mindset transforms hardships into opportunities for self-improvement. The Stoics also encourage practicing voluntary discomfort as a way to build resilience proactively. This could mean intentionally exposing oneself to small challenges, fasting for a day, taking cold showers, or walking instead of driving. These practices serve as controlled stressors that prepare the mind to face larger adversities without panic. They remind us that discomfort is temporary and that we are stronger than we often realize. Another pillar of inner resilience is self-discipline. The Stoics valued temperance, the ability to regulate desires and impulses, as essential for a strong character. When we exercise self-control in everyday situations, we build the mental fortitude needed to resist despair or fear during crises. For instance, by resisting the urge to overindulge in pleasures, we develop a mindset that can endure deprivation without feeling destabilized. Resilience also requires perspective. The Stoics practiced viewing situations from a broader vantage point to diminish their emotional intensity. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of the impermanence of all things. All things pass, and what is now in motion will soon cease to be. When we see our troubles in the context of a much larger picture, our lives, the world, and even the universe, they lose much of their power over us. What seems overwhelming in the moment becomes manageable when we recognize its transient nature. Additionally, the Stoics understood the importance of focusing on one's purpose as a source of resilience. When we are clear about our values and goals, we are less likely to be derailed by setbacks. A sense of purpose provides a guiding light, reminding us of what truly matters even in the darkest times. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his role as a leader and the responsibilities he carried, using these reflections to stay focused, despite the immense pressures he faced. Community and connection also play a role in resilience. While Stoicism emphasizes individual responsibility, it does not advocate isolation. The Stoics valued relationships and recognized that mutual support strengthens our ability to endure. Sharing burdens with trusted friends, seeking wisdom from mentors, and contributing to the well-being of others are ways to build resilience collectively. Seneca wrote, "A shared joy is a double joy. A shared sorrow is half a sorrow." Leaning on others and offering support in return creates a network of resilience that bolsters individual strength. Another practice that fosters resilience is reframing adversity as a test of character. The Stoics believed that every challenge is an opportunity to exercise virtue. A difficult situation becomes a chance to practice courage, patience, or wisdom. By viewing adversity as a proving ground rather than a punishment, we shift from a mindset of victimhood to one of empowerment. Mindfulness and presence are additional tools for resilience. Negative thoughts and emotions often stem from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. The Stoics taught the importance of grounding oneself in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Confine yourself to the present." When we focus on the task at hand, rather than getting lost in hypothetical scenarios, we approach challenges with greater clarity and calmness. Gratitude is another cornerstone of resilience. In times of hardship, it is easy to focus solely on what is wrong or missing. However, the Stoics believed that cultivating gratitude shifts our perspective, reminding us of what remains good and stable in our lives. Gratitude does not deny difficulty, but coexists with it, providing a counterbalance to negativity. Lastly, resilience is built through reflection. The Stoics practiced daily self-examination, reviewing their actions and thoughts to identify areas for improvement. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what challenges did I face? How did I respond? What could I do better tomorrow? This practice fosters a growth mindset, helping you to learn from setbacks and continually strengthen your resilience. Building inner resilience is not about eliminating adversity from life. It is about developing the strength to face it with courage, clarity, and composure. By embracing the principles of Stoicism, focusing on what we can control, practicing voluntary discomfort, cultivating perspective, and living with purpose, we create a foundation of resilience that allows us to navigate life's inevitable challenges with grace. Resilience, in the Stoic sense, is not just a skill, but a way of living, one that transforms difficulties into opportunities for growth and strength. Journaling has long been recognized as a powerful tool for emotional clarity and self-reflection. For the Stoics, it was more than a mere activity, it was a daily practice integral to their philosophical way of life. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations stands as a testament to the enduring value of journaling, offering insights into his innermost thoughts, struggles, and reflections on how to live virtuously. Through journaling, the Stoics gained a deeper understanding of their minds, reframed negative thoughts, and aligned their actions with their values. This practice remains just as relevant today as it was in antiquity. One of the greatest benefits of journaling is its ability to externalize negative thoughts. When we feel overwhelmed by emotions like anger, fear, or sadness, these feelings often seem larger and more complex than they truly are. Writing them down allows us to see them clearly, to dissect them, and to recognize patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. The simple act of putting pen to paper creates distance between us and our emotions, making it easier to approach them with objectivity. The Stoics believed that self-awareness was essential for a virtuous life, and journaling was a key tool in cultivating this awareness. By reflecting on their thoughts and actions each day, they could identify areas for growth and improvement. For example, Marcus Aurelius frequently used his journal to remind himself of Stoic principles, such as focusing on what is within his control or practicing compassion toward others. This process of self-examination helped him stay grounded and maintain his philosophical discipline, even amid the immense pressures of being a Roman emperor. Another benefit of journaling is its ability to challenge and reframe negative thoughts. When we write about our fears, frustrations, or doubts, we have an opportunity to question their validity. Is this thought true? Is it helpful? What evidence supports or contradicts it? By examining our thoughts in this way, we can begin to dismantle unhelpful beliefs and replace them with more constructive perspectives. For instance, if you write, "I'll never succeed at this project," you might then reflect, is it really true that I'll never succeed? Or is this just a fear based on past experiences? What steps can I take to improve my chances? Journaling also serves as a safe space to practice gratitude, an essential Stoic virtue. When life feels overwhelming, focusing on what is going well can provide a sense of balance and perspective. By recording things you're grateful for each day, no matter how small, you train your mind to notice and appreciate the positive aspects of your life. Over time, this practice can shift your mental focus away from negativity and toward a more balanced outlook. In addition to fostering emotional clarity, journaling can help clarify your goals and values. The Stoics emphasized living in alignment with one's principles, and journaling provides an opportunity to explore what those principles are. What matters most to you? Are your daily actions aligned with your long-term goals? By reflecting on these questions regularly, you can ensure that your life remains purposeful and grounded. A practical way to incorporate Stoic journaling into your routine is to start and end each day with reflection. In the morning, you might write about what you hope to accomplish, the challenges you anticipate, and how you plan to respond to them with virtue and resilience. For example, today, I will practice patience when faced with interruptions and focus on completing my work diligently. This sets a clear intention for the day, grounded in Stoic principles. In the evening, review the events of the day, reflect on what went well, what challenges you faced, and how you handled them. Were there moments when negative thoughts got the better of you? If so, what could you do differently next time? This practice is not about self-criticism, but about learning and growth. As Seneca advised, every night before going to sleep, we must ask ourselves, what weakness did I overcome today? What virtue did I acquire? For those new to journaling, it's important to approach it with simplicity and consistency. You don't need to write lengthy entries or strive for perfection. A few sentences each day can be enough to reap the benefits. For example, you might use prompts such as, what is one challenge I faced today and how did I respond? What is something I'm grateful for? Did I focus on what is within my control today? How can I improve tomorrow? Journaling also creates a record of your growth over time. When you look back at past entries, you can see how your thoughts, habits, and challenges have evolved. This retrospective view often reveals progress that might otherwise go unnoticed, reinforcing your sense of resilience and capability. The power of journaling lies in its ability to transform chaos into clarity. By engaging in this practice, you gain insight into your mind, develop greater self-awareness, and cultivate the emotional balance necessary to navigate life's challenges. For the Stoics, journaling was not just a tool for self-improvement, it was a way to live deliberately, guided by wisdom and virtue. Today, it remains a timeless practice for anyone seeking to overcome negative thoughts and live with greater purpose and clarity. Anchoring oneself in virtue and purpose is a central tenet of Stoic philosophy, offering a steady foundation in the face of life's challenges and uncertainties. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment arises not from external achievements or possessions, but from living in alignment with one's values and principles. This sense of purpose acts as a guiding light, helping us navigate through adversity while staying true to our higher selves. Negative thoughts often arise when we feel disconnected from our values or uncertain about our direction in life. Without a clear sense of purpose, the mind tends to dwell on trivialities, comparisons, and fears, magnifying negativity. The Stoics understood that when we anchor ourselves in virtue, qualities such as wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, we shift our focus away from fleeting concerns and onto what truly matters. This shift not only diminishes the power of negative thoughts, but also provides a sense of inner stability and resilience. Living according to virtue requires deliberate effort and constant reflection. For the Stoics, this meant evaluating their actions and intentions daily to ensure they were aligned with their principles. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, repeatedly reminded himself to act justly, speak truthfully, and approach life with humility. By doing so, he found clarity amidst the pressures of ruling an empire. When faced with difficult situations, he would ask, "What does virtue require of me in this moment?" This simple question serves as a compass, guiding us toward actions that reflect our highest values. Purpose, closely tied to virtue, is another essential anchor. For the Stoics, purpose was not limited to grand ambitions or lofty goals. It could be found in fulfilling one's role in daily life, whether as a parent, friend, leader, or community member. Epictetus often spoke of understanding one's role in the larger context of the world, emphasizing that purpose is found not in what we achieve, but in how we fulfill our duties with integrity. This perspective helps to ground us, especially during times of uncertainty or hardship. When negative thoughts arise, reconnecting with purpose can provide clarity and direction. For instance, when struggling with self-doubt, ask yourself, "What is my purpose in this situation?" This question shifts the focus from internal fears to external contributions. Instead of worrying about personal failure, you begin to think about how your actions can benefit others or align with your values. This outward focus diminishes the intensity of negative thoughts, replacing them with a sense of meaning and motivation. Virtue and purpose also help us prioritize what truly matters. In a world filled with distractions and competing demands, it's easy to lose sight of our core values. The Stoics advocated for simplicity and intentionality, urging us to strip away what is unnecessary and focus on what contributes to a virtuous life. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." By aligning our desires with our purpose, we free ourselves from the mental clutter that fuels negativity. A practical way to anchor yourself in virtue and purpose is through daily reflection and intention setting. Begin each day by considering what virtues you wish to embody and what purpose you aim to fulfill. This practice provides a clear framework for your actions, reducing the influence of negative thoughts and distractions. For example, if your purpose is to be a source of support for your family, reflecting on this intention can help you respond with patience and kindness, even in challenging moments. Another practice is to regularly revisit your core values and goals. Writing them down and reviewing them can serve as a powerful reminder of what truly matters. When faced with difficulties, return to these values as a source of strength and guidance. If justice, for example, is one of your guiding virtues, ask yourself, how can I act justly in this situation, regardless of the outcome? This focus on virtuous action helps to anchor your thoughts and actions in what is meaningful rather than what is fleeting or superficial. Virtue and purpose also provide a sense of continuity in a world that is constantly changing. The Stoics recognize that external circumstances are unpredictable and often beyond our control. However, our commitment to living according to our values remains constant. This constancy creates a sense of inner stability, allowing us to face challenges with equanimity. When external events threaten to destabilize us, returning to our purpose reminds us of what we stand for and why we act. Anchoring yourself in virtue and purpose transforms your relationship with negative thoughts. Instead of being consumed by them, you begin to see them as temporary distractions from what truly matters. By focusing on living a virtuous life and fulfilling your purpose, you cultivate a mindset that is resilient, clear, and grounded. This alignment with higher principles not only helps to overcome negativity, but also fosters a deep sense of peace and fulfillment that remains unshaken by life's inevitable challenges. Detachment is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, offering a profound way to navigate life's challenges with clarity and resilience. The Stoics understood that much of our suffering arises not from external events themselves, but from our attachment to specific outcomes, possessions, or relationships. Detachment, however, is not about indifference or apathy. It is about recognizing the limits of our control and maintaining a balanced perspective. By practicing detachment, we free ourselves from the emotional turbulence that often accompanies excessive attachment, allowing us to face life with greater equanimity. At the heart of detachment is the Stoic principle of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. Epictetus articulated this idea succinctly. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Our thoughts, choices, and actions fall within our sphere of control, while external events, other people's opinions and outcomes lie beyond it. Detachment requires us to focus on what we can influence and to accept the rest without resistance. This practice fosters a sense of liberation as we no longer waste energy worrying about things we cannot change. One of the most challenging aspects of detachment is letting go of our desire for specific outcomes. The Stoics taught that while it is natural to hope for success or favorable circumstances, we must not base our happiness or self-worth on these outcomes. For example, if we work hard on a project, we should take pride in our effort and dedication rather than pinning our satisfaction solely on its success. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which arm you against the present." This mindset helps us to stay grounded in the present moment, focusing on the process rather than obsessing over results. Detachment also involves rethinking our relationship with possessions and material wealth. The Stoics recognize that while external goods can bring temporary comfort, they are ultimately impermanent and outside our control. Seneca wrote, "Wealth is the slave of a wise man and the master of a fool." By cultivating a sense of gratitude for what we have while remaining prepared to lose it, we reduce the emotional impact of potential loss. This does not mean rejecting material possessions entirely, but rather viewing them as tools to be used wisely, not as sources of lasting fulfillment. In relationships, detachment plays an equally important role. The Stoics valued love and connection, but warned against becoming overly dependent on others for our happiness. Epictetus advised, "When you kiss your child, say to yourself, 'Tomorrow you may die.'" This statement is not a call to pessimism, but a reminder to cherish loved ones without clinging to the illusion of permanence. Detachment allows us to appreciate relationships for what they are, rather than fearing their potential loss. By accepting the impermanence of all things, we can love more deeply and authentically. Detachment does not mean suppressing emotions or avoiding pain. The Stoics recognized that loss, disappointment, and grief are natural parts of life. However, they believed that by practicing detachment, we could experience these emotions without being consumed by them. For example, if we lose a cherished possession, we may feel sadness, but detachment helps us to avoid spiraling into despair. Instead, we remind ourselves that the object was never truly ours to keep, and that our worth is not diminished by its absence. A practical way to cultivate detachment is through visualization exercises. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, in which they imagined worst-case scenarios to prepare themselves emotionally. By visualizing the loss of a possession, a missed opportunity, or even the death of a loved one, They developed a sense of resilience. This exercise does not make us cold or unfeeling, but rather strengthens our ability to face adversity with composure. Another practice is to regularly reflect on the impermanence of life. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that all things, including himself, are part of a natural cycle of change and decay. By contemplating the transient nature of life, we develop a greater appreciation for the present moment and a reduced attachment to things that will inevitably pass. This perspective helps us to see challenges and losses as part of a larger natural order rather than personal tragedies. Detachment also involves cultivating an internal source of fulfillment. The Stoics emphasize that true happiness comes from living in alignment with one's values and virtues rather than relying on external circumstances. When we anchor our well-being in qualities like wisdom, courage, and justice, we become less vulnerable to the ups and downs of life. This inner stability allows us to face external events with equanimity, knowing that our sense of self-worth remains intact. In practicing detachment, we learn to approach life with a sense of balance and perspective. We can still set goals, cherish relationships, and enjoy material comforts, but we do so with the understanding that these things are temporary and not the source of our ultimate happiness. Detachment is not a rejection of life's pleasures, but a way to enjoy them fully without fear of losing them. By embracing detachment, we free ourselves from the mental and emotional burdens that come with excessive attachment. We gain the ability to face challenges with resilience, to love and appreciate without clinging, and to find peace amidst life's inevitable uncertainties. In doing so, we live more authentically, guided by reason and virtue rather than by fear or desire. Detachment, in the Stoic sense, is not about withdrawal, but about engaging with life more fully with a clear mind and an open heart. Gratitude is one of the most transformative practices in Stoicism, a counterweight to negativity that reorients the mind toward abundance rather than scarcity. The Stoics understood that life is filled with challenges and uncertainties, but they also recognized that cultivating gratitude shifts our perspective, allowing us to focus on what we have rather than what we lack. By practicing gratitude, we strengthen our resilience, diminish the power of negative thoughts, and cultivate a deeper sense of contentment and peace. At its core, gratitude is about appreciating the present moment and acknowledging the gifts life has already provided. Seneca wrote, "He who receives a benefit with gratitude repays the first installment on his debt." This statement reminds us that gratitude is not just a feeling, but an active practice, a way of engaging with life that fosters humility and appreciation. By focusing on what is good in our lives, we counterbalance the mental weight of negativity and shift our attention to the positive. Gratitude begins with awareness. Often we take for granted the very things that make our lives meaningful, our health, relationships, or even the simple fact that we are alive. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself to recognize the beauty in the ordinary. In his meditations, he reflected, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." By consciously acknowledging these everyday blessings, we train our minds to see the good amidst the challenges. One of the most profound aspects of gratitude is its ability to reframe adversity. The Stoics believed that even hardships contain hidden benefits. Seneca observed, "A good character is the result of hard times endured." When we face difficulties, gratitude allows us to recognize the opportunities for growth and learning that these experiences provide. For example, a challenging relationship might teach us patience, or a failure might lead us to reevaluate and improve our approach. This perspective does not deny the pain of adversity, but places it within a broader, more constructive context. Gratitude also helps us to appreciate the impermanence of life. The Stoics frequently reflected on the fleeting nature of all things, not as a cause for despair, but as a reason to cherish the present. Epictetus encouraged his students to view every moment as a gift. Do not let your joy depend on something you may lose. This practice fosters a deep sense of appreciation for what we have now, rather than worrying about what we might lose in the future. To make gratitude a daily practice, the Stoics often employed simple yet profound exercises. One such exercise is the practice of morning and evening reflection. In the morning, take a few moments to reflect on what you're grateful for, setting a positive tone for the day. In the evening, review the events of the day and identify moments of joy, kindness, or growth. Even on the most difficult days, there is always something to be grateful for. A lesson learned, a small kindness, or even the strength to endure. Another powerful practice is the gratitude letter. This involves writing a letter to someone who has positively impacted your life, expressing your appreciation for their actions or presence. While this practice benefits the recipient, it also has a profound effect on the writer, deepening their sense of connection and appreciation. Gratitude is also closely tied to the Stoic concept of focusing on what is within our control. When we cultivate gratitude, we shift our attention from external circumstances, often beyond our influence, to our internal response. For example, instead of lamenting a rainy day, we might appreciate the opportunity to stay indoors and enjoy a quiet moment. This mindset reinforces the Stoic principle that happiness is not determined by external events, but by how we perceive and respond to them. Gratitude can be applied to even the simplest aspects of life. Marcus Aurelius found joy in observing nature and everyday occurrences, reflecting on the interconnectedness of all things. By practicing this kind of mindfulness, we learn to find beauty and meaning in the small details that often go unnoticed. This practice not only enriches our daily lives, but also builds a foundation of positivity that counteracts negativity. In relationships, gratitude plays a crucial role in strengthening connections and fostering mutual respect. The Stoics valued the bonds between individuals and recognized the importance of expressing appreciation for others. By acknowledging the contributions and virtues of those around us, we create an environment of goodwill and trust. Gratitude transforms our relationships, helping us focus on the positive qualities of others rather than dwelling on their flaws. Gratitude is a choice, a deliberate decision to focus on the good in life, even when faced with difficulties. It is a practice that requires consistency and effort, but yields profound rewards. When we cultivate gratitude, we not only diminish the power of negative thoughts, but also develop a deeper sense of contentment and resilience. Gratitude reminds us that even in the face of life's challenges, there is always something to appreciate, some light to be found in the darkness. The Stoics understood that gratitude is not just a reaction to favorable circumstances, but a way of life. It is a discipline that transforms our perspective, guiding us toward a mindset of abundance and peace. By practicing gratitude, we align ourselves with the wisdom of the Stoics, learning to live with grace, humility, and a profound appreciation for the gifts of existence. Through gratitude, we find not only freedom from negativity, but also a deeper connection to ourselves, others, and the world around us. In the journey to overcome negative thoughts, we've explored the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and the practical tools it offers for building resilience, clarity, and peace. From understanding the nature of negativity to reframing our thoughts, practicing gratitude, and anchoring ourselves in virtue and purpose, the Stoics have shown us that true strength lies within. By focusing on what we can control, accepting life's uncertainties, and cultivating a mindset of gratitude and detachment, we empower ourselves to navigate life's challenges with courage and wisdom. Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it's a way of life. It reminds us that while we cannot always control external events, we can always control our response. Through daily practices like journaling, self-reflection, and intentional gratitude, we can shift our perspective, letting go of negativity and embracing the beauty of the present moment. This transformation isn't immediate, but with consistent effort, it becomes a powerful habit that reshapes our lives for the better. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Stoicism and its profound lessons for overcoming negative thoughts. If you found this content valuable, don't forget to like this video, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more insights on philosophy, self-improvement, and practical wisdom. Together, let's continue to grow, learn, and live our best lives. See you next time.